Hi guys, welcome. The topic of this video is New Year's resolutions, specifically fitness New Year's resolutions. Now around this time of year, the end of December, people are starting to feel a bit overindulged from December. The cheese and crackers, the booze, the sweets, the chocolates, all of that stuff, it's just sort of hanging around your neck. The kitchen is full of it and you're fed up of it. And you're starting to feel a little bit down in the dumps, certainly when you're looking at going back to work and the whole thing starts again. New Year's resolutions, they're notorious for failing, and a lot of people by February have just reverted back to bad habits and the whole cycle starts again. Now, I'm going to be bringing you my 5 top tips on how to sort of navigate this period, leaning on my own experience a little bit, but hopefully it can give you a little bit of motivation to stay on track. So I'm going to be bringing you my 5 top tips. They're not in any particular order, but I'm going to count them down anyway for dramatic effect. So tip number 5 is simplify. Now go into the New Year's with just one goal, right? This is super important, and I think people make this mistake every single year. They create a list, an extravagant list of their idealistic self, right? All the things they want to change about themselves. But by taking on too much, by making the list too long, too complicated, you are setting yourself up for failure. The very first time you can skip one of these things, you will inevitably start a chain reaction until you are right back at square one and all of your bad habits have come back in. Now, it's much easier to satisfy just one New Year's resolution. Now, this could be, say, running, right? Let's use running as an example. You start running and you just concentrate on getting out of the door, going and getting it done and coming back. Then you've got nothing else to worry about. And then you just do this over and over and over again without sort of jumping from one to the other. Similarly, if you want to get strong, the thing you need to do is lift weights. So find a way of doing that one thing over and over and over again. If you take on too much, you will inevitably fail. So that is tip 5, simplify. So tip number 4 is to not listen to other people. Now this is kind of a big one from a sort of a mental health perspective and a motivation perspective. When you take on a task like a New Year's resolution, and that could come in any form, you will inevitably share that opinion on your plan and your task with other people. This can happen at work, this can happen with your friends, this can happen with your family, but ultimately a lot of those people won't be doing the same New Year's resolution as you and will be still doing the thing you're trying to fix. And a sort of a reaction to telling them that is that people will start to try to belittle your efforts. They will try to pull you back into their little gang. So let's take drinking, for example. If you stop drinking, the very first drinker that you come across will start telling you that you need to lead a balanced life or have more fun, or you've got to have a little bit of both. And you will just get a barrage of sort of silly excuses as to go back and just give up all of your efforts already, right? And they're often really unhealthy, really unfit people that are giving you this stick in the first place. My advice, don't listen to any of them. You stay on track, you stay on target. You know what you're there to do, you know what you're there to fix. Do not listen. No matter what they say, no matter what they're doing, you stay true to your plans for your New Year's resolution. So tip number 3 is to find people doing the same thing as your New Year's resolution. So I've got a great example for this, running. A little while back I wasn't very good at running, I wasn't very motivated, and I went out and I found a running club that was close to me. I joined it, I showed up on the first night and I just joined in. Now, running clubs are great for lots of different reasons, but the main reason is they run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever days the running club runs, and it's every week. If you think that you can just get yourself out the door, self-discipline, self-accountability, or if you're just running with a friend, just think about all of those times where there is an excuse as to not go out, whether it's too hot, too cold, too rainy, too dark, or my friend can't make it today, so I won't bother. There's a million reasons why that mechanism will fail. If you join a running club, they run the days that they say they're going to run, and there'll be people there every single time, and it will add a lovely social element to it as well. There'll be people that you can make friends with and talk with every time you go. And before you think, oh, running clubs are for the elite, though, they're for the really good runners. Yes, they do have good runners in those clubs, But all of those clubs will have an entry level mechanism, like whether it be a couch to 5K or some other entry level, but they'll also run in groups of smaller amounts where you can run in your specific pace. So they will always have a slower group and a medium group and a faster group. So wherever you are on that scale, you will always have someone to run with. So tip number 2 is setting goals. Now, I am a big advocate for setting goals, but it's important not to fall into the trap of just setting one goal. Let me explain. A lot of people at New Year's and in New Year's resolutions will say, I want to take up running and I want to run a half marathon. So they've said what they want to do, but they've also set themselves a goal in the same breath. So they put a lot of effort into getting fit. They'll go out running, they'll put in the time, they'll put in the training to get to the half marathon point. They'll get to that point where they have to run the half marathon. They do it, they complete it. Now, we as human beings like to put a lifespan on everything, a start, a middle, and an end. Now, when that half marathon is complete, it's quite easy to get into the mindset that I have completed it, I've done, I don't need to do any more. That's not how fitness works, is it? The second you stop and you start to revert to bad habits, or you don't train, or you start to neglect your diet again, you will just go right back to the start and you've achieved nothing. You've wasted all of that time and effort and it's gone. And you've gone right back to the beginning. And that's a very frustrating thing to do. And if you allow that, you end up in this yo-yo state, this up and down, this fluctuating between unfit and fit. So a way to avoid that is to set perpetual goals. So throughout a year, I will have maybe 5 or 10 events that I sign up to, whether it be a running event, an OCR event, or a fitness event. It always gives me something else to train for. The second that I'm done with that one thing, I've always got the next thing to start training for. It keeps you focused, it keeps you in lane, it gets you back out the door again with running, to the gym. It's super important to do. And finally, tip number 1, it is consistency. What do I mean by that? Well, any fitness goals take time, whether it be losing weight, gaining muscle, becoming a better runner, it doesn't really matter. All of these things take time, a lot of time. So my biggest tip to you is on day 1, manage your expectations. Do not be looking to measure yourself or judge or gauge how you're doing in the short term. The few weeks after New Year's, nothing will change. You won't look much different. You won't get a much better runner. You won't put on any muscle mass. You want to be setting realistic expectations. So 6 weeks, I think, is the first sort of time you will start to look or feel different. You won't see massive changes in yourself or your performance, but you will start to notice little things that are signs that you're going in the right direction. I wouldn't be looking at the scales, I wouldn't be looking in the mirror, because things happen so slowly that you wouldn't perceive them. And if you don't perceive them, you will think that you are failing and you would likely fall off. Stay on track. Whatever it is, just keep doing it. Consistency is key. It's important. Just keep showing up. Keep showing up. By the 6-month mark, you will start to see very real changes in yourself. I can't express this enough, that if you start checking and measuring and weighing yourself way too soon, you will not see the changes in yourself. You just won't see them. They will be practically invisible to you. You will only see these over time. Broaden the way you monitor this. So on day 1, sure, take your measurements, but don't do that again until, say, 3 months in or 6 months in. Then you will start to see the changes. So they are my 5 tips on how to stay on track for your New Year's fitness resolutions. Now, you should just about apply these to anything that you're taking on. But probably the thing I want to say last on this topic is don't give up. It's so easy after 3 weeks to say, sod it, I'm going to go back to doing this, or I'm going to go back to doing that, and I'm not going back out in the rain running, stuff that. Oh, the gym's too crowded, hate it there. Give it time. Just give it time. You will quite likely hate the things that you're going to do at first. Running feels really bad when you first take it up. Lifting weights in a crowded gym feels unpleasant. You feel self-conscious, you don't know if you're doing it right. There's a million things that would detract you from going to a gym. With regards to diet, everyone can be tempted off the path from time to time. There are a million different ways that you can stay on track. But my best advice is for everyone, don't give up. Your ultimate goal is to get to the very next new year, still doing the thing that you've applied to your life at this new year. Set those goals, find those people, don't listen to anyone, stay on track, be consistent. Right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video soon. Give the channel a subscribe. Happy New Year. Mart out.